happens to be me. So I'm a third year student, like I said, BSc, taking BSc Computer Security and Forensics. I'm a penetration tester, focusing on offensive security, and an active bug bounty hunter. So that is my Twitter handle, where you can reach me or DM me for any further questions after this presentation. Just a little bit of what you're going to cover in this presentation. So we'll pose the question, why is the demand for cybersecurity high? Because you are interested in cybersecurity and you want to market your skills, you want to turn those skills into money. What are the solid work habits you need to have? What are some of the soft skills? What are some of the technical skills you can leverage? And finally, I have a cybersecurity mind map that is at the end of the presentation. So moving on to the next slide. And I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Why cybersecurity? Why is cybersecurity demand so high? So the first thing, everyone has sensitive data. By sensitive data, you have your PII, you have let's say you have the passwords you use when you log into your socials. You have those credentials you use when you log into your school portal. You have credentials you use maybe when you're accessing your bank account. So everyone has their sensitive data that is kept private at a personal level. So the other thing is companies need to meet compliance. So there's that threshold that is put out there for companies, and they're required to meet some of the data compliance requirements. So that is why cybersecurity, and because we are living in the age of information, so and due to a lot of hack attacks, when you go to like the US, you'll find out that if you have to have a company, it has to meet that bare minimum of cybersecurity. The other thing is companies want to avoid data breaches. So these data breaches, they damage companies or establishments' reputations, which could, and this also, after a data breach has happened, like let's say Facebook has been hit with a data breach, or like the last incident, the very recent one of LinkedIn, where data of 500 million users was being auctioned off in the dark web in a cyber criminal forum. So when these companies are faced with these kinds of data breaches, so it might lead to legal fines because customers might sue them. If it's, let's say, something like AWS, most companies, they rely on AWS for cloud services, or maybe Google storage services. So if something like that is hit with a data breach, most customers are going to sue because their data has been leaked, and it's the job of the cloud service to secure their data. So it also leads to a lot of cost in response, where they have to mitigate the threat or where the leak came from. So the other thing is the number of people and devices online that can be hacked is increasing exponentially. A very good example is when you go to this search engine called Shodan. When you use Shodan, you are able to get you can see any device that is connected to the internet. With something like an Android device, most people, they don't know about this, and this happens mostly to Android developers. When they are running their applications, they use something called the ADB, the Android Debug Bridge. So they leave that on. And when you're connected to the internet, the Android debug bridge is usually it's internet facing, and an attacker can use this to make a remote connection on your mobile phone. So that is something most people don't know. Even these smartwatches, it can be used to track you. That is where you hear of something like IoT hacking, because they know when they gain an initial foothold on, maybe your smartwatch, or maybe that smart fridge you have, maybe that door, maybe that smart garage, or maybe that smart kitchen you have that cooks food before you get home, or that microwave you have, interact them. So once they get an initial foothold, they are able to move laterally and vertically across your IoT devices. The other thing is our reliance on technology cannot be rolled back. We are moving forward. In this time and age, or mostly like now, we have COVID-19. It is very evident that that a lot of things, a lot of services have moved online. We are having online classes. We are having people working from home. So all these things, it's something that an attacker can leverage. And companies and institutions and other establishments are looking for people who would help in countering these attacks or keeping the hackers at bay. So moving on to the next slide. What are some of the solid work habits you need? Cybersecurity, it's something that is quite demanding, and when you get into it, it will require a lot of your strength. So one thing you need one thing you need to have about yourself is you have to be very eager. The other thing is you have to be very enthusiastic and have a high degree of adaptability. The other thing is you have to learn how to keep up with the emerging trends. The denial of service attack type that was being used 5 years ago, maybe 1 year ago, is probably obsolete by now. So you have to know how you're going to keep up with the emerging technology, and you have to know ways in which attackers are improvising, or maybe they are coming up with crafty ways of executing these types of attacks. So the lights just came back. That's why I'm moving. So the other thing about cybersecurity is you need to have resilience. Most of the days, personally, I wake up and I feel I have no will to keep on going ahead with whatever it is that I'm doing. So you have to be very determined, and you have to know what you want, so that you can, let's say, you can be successful, and maybe you can. This will help. This will be very instrumental in helping you achieve your goals. So moving on to the next slide. So what are some of the soft skills? This is excellent presentation and communication skills, ability to articulate concepts, both written and verbally. This one is very important, because when it comes to the client, they might maybe tell you, maybe we have a case of maybe dangling DNS or something like that. So that dangling the DNS record, or maybe some these misconfigured S3 buckets. So you need to learn. You need to understand whatever the client is asking you to do. The other thing is you have to have the ability, understanding, and usage of active listening skills, especially with customers. So this applies where you have to, you are dealing with the customer. So the customer might require their job done in a particular manner. So you have to conform to whatever the customer requires. So in hotels or things like that, you hear the customer is always right. And this is the motto that is usually applied in most places. So moving on to the next slide. Technical skills. So technical skills, by this I mean the understanding the architecture, administration, and management of operating systems, e.g. Windows, Linux. You have to understand how networking works. You have to understand virtual machines. The other thing is coding. These one. Okay. For someone like me who's into bounty hunting, it's not an irreducible minimum because I only need how to learn how to interpret code. I don't need how to learn how to code, but it's essential because it will put you above others. The other thing is engineering. By this I mean software engineering. So there are people who are who do software engineering. So this one can also play a key role when you want to get started in cybersecurity. The other thing is you might be into sales and marketing. This is something that most people don't think that it's required in cybersecurity, but you require sales. You require people in sales and marketing. I'll take an example of something like Bugcrowd or HackerOne. These guys, they are bug bounty platforms. So what they do so that they can attract customers on their platforms, they have to have very good. They have to have very good. They have to have very good people who are very good at sales and marketing, and these people will do pitches on their behalf so that companies can continue joining their bug bounty platforms. The other thing is customer service. This is dealing directly with the customers. The other thing is project management. This comes in the SDLC, software development lifecycle. The other thing is executive leadership. In companies, let's say you have some years in cybersecurity. In most companies, you'll find there is a chief information security officer. There's a business information security officer. So it's cybersecurity. It's diversified and it's across all platforms. So moving on to the next slide. Okay, there's someone who has unmuted their mic. Thank you very much for muting. So moving on to the next slide. So this is where I categorize cybersecurity. So you might hear of cybersecurity, and you know most people are like, let's say, I'm sure my biggest audience here is campus students. So most people, when they hear about cybersecurity, and I remember this when I joined the cybersecurity club back in 2017 in my school. Most people, when they hear about cybersecurity, they think of only the hacker they see typing fast on keyboards in the internet. But cybersecurity is so much diversified. You don't even, in some cases, you don't even need to have practical skills. You only need to have the emotional quotient. You need the ability to relate with other people properly. So one category of cybersecurity is defensive cybersecurity. The other one is offensive cybersecurity, and there is research-oriented. So moving on to the next slide. When I talk about defensive cybersecurity, what am I talking about? This involves all processes and practices that will defend a network, its data, and nodes from unauthorized access or manipulation. And this applies to websites, software, applications, etc. So how do you make money when you're in defensive security? This one thing called cyber forensics. So cyber forensics, it's the you guys have seen people being charged on the basis of digital evidence. Or maybe you have seen cases where the DCI, they say, we'll get the suspect's computer or the phone so that we can retrieve data which we are going to use as evidence against them. So this is what cyber forensics is all about. It's the investigative part of cybersecurity. And this is where you can, let's say, like you a student, and you're interested in forensics, in computer forensics, you can decide to be an investigator, or you can decide to do cyber forensics, and then later you might be used in court as an expert witness. So cybersecurity has some of its requirements, but I believe my job here is to point you in the right direction. So cyber forensics, it's actually very interesting because there are some people who do that professionally. They call it, the normal term you'll get out here in the streets, it's digital forensics. Like if you guys know East African data handlers, they solely rely on that. That thing you hear about data recovery, maybe your phone has been there's malware that has gotten into your computer, and you need someone to help you get back access to your documents. So that's all cyber forensics or digital forensics for you. The other thing is blue teaming. So these are the paranoid guys in cybersecurity. Like I always say, my favorite thing is, the red teamer only need to be lucky once, but the blue teamer need to be lucky all the time. So when you're in blue teaming, you are this guy in cybersecurity that you always have to look for potential areas or loopholes an attacker could use to get into your system. So blue team means you are just a defender. Your job maybe is to go and monitor network. If you see any anomalies in the network, you have to maybe see if there is, you have to look at logs so that if you can see there are any discrepancies. So basically, and there are people who do this for a living. There are people, something like, is this something called CSIRT, Computer Security Incident Response Team. So some of these guys, the blue teamer, some of the blue teamers you'll find in Kenya belong to this group. The other thing is cyber compliance and risk advisory. So I've done a little bit of this. So this is where a company reaches out to you and they tell you, we want you to maybe do a risk analysis of maybe cyber security risk analysis. So your job is to look at their network infrastructure, their websites, their web infrastructure, and then you assess the damage that could happen in case there was an occurrence of a cyber attack. So basically, you don't require a lot of skills for this one, because if you go online and find and look at most of the cyber risk assessment reports, they are done using just the normal tools like Nmap, Zenmap, etc. So the other thing is incidents. Okay, pardon? Okay. The other thing is incident response. So when I talk about incident response, these are the people who come after the incident has already happened. These are the guys who come for remediation. So they come to patch up systems. Let's say, for example, maybe Alibaba was hacked and a lot of information was leaked, maybe credit card info and something like that. So what they'll do, they'll have to spend so much money after they have responded and detected and stopped the threat. They'll use a lot of money in response. And by response, I mean they're going to hire secure the people who do secure coding to patch up those systems. They're also going to hire maybe penetration testers who are going to check where the threat might have come from, and etc, something like that. So basically, this means there are people who react after an incident. The other thing is you could be a secure software developer. So by a secure software developer, this means you write code that is secure. You know, most developers don't write secure code. They just want to get the job done. So you might be that guy where a company hires you. It has a large number of developers, and this depends on how much skill set you have. This depends on the skill set you have. So a company might hire you to secure their code. Maybe your work will be source code review after developers, maybe when the machine or the systems are still in testing phases before they are deployed into the live environment. So moving on to the next slide. Is offensive cybersecurity. Now, this is my area. This is where I could say I live off from. So it deploys a proactive approach to security through the use of ethical hacking. So this is where a company or maybe an entity or an establishment pays ethical hackers to hack their systems with the goal of finding vulnerabilities so that the company can patch them up before the malicious or maybe a threat actor comes and finds those loopholes there. So the very first example of someone in offensive security is a red teamer. So this guy, all they do all these looking for vulnerability in systems, and red teamers are not reduced to they only sitting behind the desktops. They go up to physical security testing. This means they can try to gain access to various buildings or premises via maybe use of maybe hacking RFIDs. If you follow a guy called Kevin Mitnick, he's one of the examples I would tell you of a red teamer. He does that work. So they might be also Rapid9. They have a red team. They have a red team. So they are not limited to maybe applications or websites. So they are fully fledged. They can go physically or maybe they can do it from their computer. They are not networked anywhere. They are not limited to one form. The other one is bug bounty hunters. So bug bounty hunters, this is where I lie. So these are people who they are mostly in they might be dependent who work on or maybe freelance who work on external programs, or they could be on a platform like HackerOne or Bugcrowd or Integrity. There are a lot of platforms out there. So the work of a bug bounty hunter is to find vulnerabilities in a system, and then they report those vulnerabilities for some compensation. So an example of a company that is only one company in Kenya that has a bug bounty program, and it's Safaricom. And so Safaricom, it's on HackerOne. So when you report bugs on Safaricom, so they are going, if it's a valid bug and they verify it, and it mostly depends on the business impact of the bug or maybe the security impact of the bug, they are going to reward you. And there are people who are making a lot of money from this. So the other thing is cloud auditor. So that these are people who audit. They are people who perform testing on cloud services, maybe the Amazon Web Services, or maybe the Microsoft. I call it Azure. I don't know if you call it Azure. It depends on. They say inadepend na mwalimu wako wa kizungu, or other cloud services that are out there. So these guys they focus solely on cloud services, and there is a checklist that they use to test these cloud services if it has met the bare minimum that is required or something like that. The other thing is a penetration tester. So a penetration tester, this is someone who will look for vulnerabilities on applications, on websites, on networks. Basically, a penetration tester will tell them, hey, I have an online system, I want you to test it. And they will go. So penetration testers, they are broad. So they are not limited to one. So they can do anything, depends on what the company or the chief information security officer requires of them. The other thing is an application security expert. So he's someone who focuses on web applications and mobile applications. And then they focus on things like Think, CMSs. They focus on the technologies that are used on maybe mobile applications and web applications. So these you have to be very, depends on, like I said, depends on your skill level. If maybe you know a lot about if you know a lot about Android or maybe web application technologies, you could fit in that role of an application security expert. Moving on to the next slide. At this point, I would ask Nancy to present up. There's a picture I had sent you because
Okay, just a minute.
yeah. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you could be typing them on the chat. I'll answer them at the end of this, at the end of my monologue, that is.
Okay, I think.
Well, there's a question in the chat, I believe, from Mutua. He
Okay,
has
let me see.
accidentally sent it directly to me, but I believe he meant to send it to everyone in the chat. So he asks, hello, I need some advice on vulnerability reporting. I have found a vulnerability in a company's network. What are the legal steps to take? Maybe you could cover that for him. Then Mutua, if you need further guidance, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Okay, so thank you very much for your question, Mutua. So you're saying you have discovered a vulnerability in a web application or maybe an Android application. So the first thing I'll tell you, in Kenya, okay, apart from Safaricom, don't even try to report a security vulnerability if you don't know anyone, or maybe you are not acquainted with anyone who might help you take that vulnerability to maybe the IT personnel of the company, because this will land you into problems. And I'm very sure you have heard of a story where a guy says, I don't know if it's KCB M-Pesa, I don't know which mobile banking application. So this guy found an application and went ahead to be cocky about it, posting it online saying they found an application. They found a vulnerability on the application. So what happened? The next thing that happened is tables turned on the guy. So he was accused. I think he was accused of stealing, I think 100 million or something like that. So the first thing, if a company, why we report as Safaricom is because they run a bug bounty program. And the other thing, they have a safe harbor. A safe harbor is where a company tells you, if you do this, and if you follow these steps in disclosing your vulnerabilities, we are not going to take any legal actions or litigation against you. So if a company does not offer that, don't report that vulnerability. It's better it exists, and don't even go ahead to share it online, because it might you'll be accused of aiding and abetting. And the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act of 2018 is in full swing. And the guys from the DCI, they will not hesitate to come for you. So I would say, if you know someone, if you want to report this vulnerability, and in this case, it's not in Safaricom, maybe you could look for people who work there and maybe tell them about it, but don't send that email. Don't send that email, because it might be the worst decision you'll ever make about yourself. So I have seen this happening to people. People are being jailed because they had very good intentions. But up there, Kenya, cybersecurity, not a lot of companies have not taken keen interest on cybersecurity. So once maybe an IT guy sees you have reported a vulnerability or a developer, they'll see you as you're undermining their work. And believe you me, they're not going to hesitate to call the authorities on you. So I'd say if it does not offer a safe harbor, don't report it. Otherwise, you'll be just running yourself into more problems. So there's an image that has been shared. I don't know if you all can zoom in on it. Continuing with my presentation. So there are three, I had said about there are three types. So the third one is research oriented. Research oriented cybersecurity. So this is where you focus on a threat analysis. In the past week, there was this guy, this malware, I think it's a QNAP. It went with a name like QNAP or something like that. Or maybe if there's someone who knows it, they can unmute their mic and say it. So this guy is he's 21 years old. He's a university student at Stanford. So this guy helped people. This malware, it's locked. Once it got in your system, it locked all your files, and you could not access them. So this guy helped in saving $50,000 worth of money that could have been sent to the attackers, simply because he found a flaw in their payment system. Apparently, if you only change one character in that address where in the payment system where you are supposed to send the ransom so that they can send you the decryption key, you could bypass their payment. So this guy, this is an example of threat analyst. So their job is you probably have heard of something called WannaCry. And this guy who had been arrested for maybe because the FBI were accusing him of being part of WannaCry, or maybe selling something called Kronos that was a banking malware. So if threat analysis means when a cybersecurity attack happens, you start to maybe dissect the malware that was used to perform this attack. Your goal is to finding a solution to that malware. And these guys, they make a lot of money from that. You will find out that if maybe a malware is asking you for a ransom of maybe $4-digit figure, if you can be able to decrypt that, you'll go even with, maybe you'll make even 200,000 Gs in a day. Yeah, it's also covered their malware analysis. So that is part. So these are people who dissect malwares all day, and their work is to know how a malware works. These also people who these are the people who also make antiviruses, because they have to know the signature of the malware so that they can append it into the antivirus database in case it's flagged in a network, it's blocked. Yeah. So the other thing is security trend analysis. So these are guys who focus, they are bloggers. So their work is to look at how security is evolving. There are a lot of websites that run this. So blogging in cybersecurity also has money, because if you have connected it to something like AdSense or maybe an ad company, you'll be paid by the amount of maybe reads or views you get on your website. So the other thing is zero-day exploits delivery. Zero-day and exploit developers. There's something called Zerodium. So let's say a very simple example. You know Adobe. Adobe. So let's say you find maybe a remote code execution on Adobe, and you're very sure no one has ever found this. So what you do is you could report this to Zerodium or zero-day blockers. So these guys, what they'll do, they're going to pay you money. Some of the people I work with are very successful at this, and they make a lot of money. You can make from let's say this pays from maybe $5,000 to, you can make even $100,000 in a day, just from 0-day and exploit development. Because when you submit a 0-day, the first thing it's going to be given a common vulnerability and exposures ID, and it becomes your vulnerability. So people will know this and it will be published as your vulnerability. So this is another way of how you could make money in cybersecurity. So these are just some of the aspects, but I believe from a beginner perspective, I have covered everything you would need to know about cybersecurity and where you could leverage so that you can make money. You have probably with the skills you have by now, you would know maybe I could venture into blue teaming, because maybe I was formerly a network administrator or something like that. So maybe I know how to look for anomalies in networks or something like that. Maybe you could say I want to be a secure code developer because you are very good at Android development or maybe web application development. So you could decide to be maybe even an application security expert because you're so good with application technologies. You could also decide to be a bug bounty hunter. Because let's say you like an offensive approach to security. The other thing you could maybe decide you want to be you could decide you want to be in incident response. Yeah, you want to be responding to incidents. You want maybe to be in risk analysis. For this, you maybe most of the times you don't even need any practical skills or technical skills. You only need to know you only need to have knowledge in cybersecurity. So there's a lot of cybersecurity is something that is evolving. It's very dynamic. And I would say if you are starting out in bug bounties and you had burnouts and you got discouraged because you saw there are maybe seasoned professionals who are scoring high bugs and you're not scoring. I will tell you, bug bounty is not. It's not like ending anytime soon. Bug bounty is the future because most technologies are moving online, and the best thing you could do right now, because we are living in an age where information is like oil. These days, when you have data, you have anyone is bidding for that data. Amazon wants that data so that they can send ads to people. There are people who want to malvertise with that data. So we are living in an in an age of information, and the better you hone your skills in cybersecurity, the better you take advantage of your skill and of your cybersecurity skills. Maybe there are also platforms that offer jobs for cybersecurity, like maybe Upwork. There are other platforms out there. There's Freelancer, so you can also decide to get into this. Though some of them might require experience. So because if you get there and you have no experience, they're going to block you, or maybe they are going to limit your account for maybe like 6 months or something. So first thing, make sure you have the skills. The other thing, go for it. So you might, if you are planning on maybe you want a stable source of income and you want to be employed, or maybe you want to work in a company setting, so you could go ahead and pursue a certificate. This will help you to bypass the HR filters, because in HR, someone will ask, do you have you done maybe CH, OSP? There's another Indian one, I don't remember its name, or OSWA. So this will just help you to get through past HR filters. And I mean, for those who want to get employed. But I would say for you, if you are not, let's say like maybe at the moment you don't have that money, because OSCP is 100,000 Kenyan shillings at the moment. Certified ethical hacking, I don't know, if maybe it's 50 to 60,000 at the moment. So if you don't have that money to secure that maybe certification at the moment, you don't have to worry about yourself, because the skills are going to market you. There's that person who has who is a certified ethical hacker, and maybe the biggest thing they could do is use Nectar or maybe Nmap at the best. But you don't have that certificate, but you can make moves. You can do a lot of stuff that will help in securing someone's data. And you also have to remember you are paid after, money is a reward after solving someone's problem. So you can't just sit there and say, yes, I'm pursuing cybersecurity, or maybe I'm learning cybersecurity because in the future I want to be employed, or maybe because you had people in cybersecurity are paid very highly. You're hoping that one day you're going to land that job. You first take advantage of the skills you have, and by the time you get there, the end will justify the means. So with that, I think I've come to the end of my presentation. The electricity over here did me dirty, so I was not able to share all the presentations I had, the slides I had. So, but I'm also going to share the slides after. I'm also going to share the slides with Nancy, and she's going to share them in the respective platforms. So I think I'm done. Over to you, Nancy. If anyone has a question, I'm here. We still have like 8 minutes, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Leo, for that amazing presentation. And I'm happy to see that you have a number of questions. So I think I'll just help you to tackle them. So the very first question was asked, can a bug bounty hunter be a pen tester?
Yeah, actually, when you're into bug bounty, it's actually very easy to become a pen tester, because bug bounty opens you up to a lot of things. A bug bounty is when you talk about bug bounty, there's web application, there's Android application, there's host penetration, the testing, there's maybe CIDR, there's IoT hacking, there's hardware hacking. The people who buy, you see, like let's say PS5. There are people who buy PS5 not to play the games in it, but to look for vulnerabilities. And I'm telling you, a bug in a PS5 box will go for not less than 10,000 US dollars. That I can assure you, because but it depends on the severity of the bug. So you can sell. So the people who look for these bugs, they have highlighted them down here under 0-day and exploit developers. So people who look for these bugs, they are masters of reverse engineering, and they're also masters of low-level programming and and object-level programming languages or something like that. So it's easy to transition from a bounty hunter to a penetration tester, but the reverse, it's because I was initially a penetration tester. I am a penetration tester, but getting into bug bounties, you might think that if I want to check for SQL injection, I'm just going to take SQL map and run it on a website, and it's going to give me. No, it does not work that way. Some SQL vulnerabilities you're going to find, you're just going to use maybe Babsuit, and maybe that's it. You're only going to use a repeater. You're not even going to use any automated scanner or something like that. So it's very easy, but when transitioning from a penetration tester to a bug bounty hunter, that might somehow prove to be difficult. But if you have the dedication and the motivation, you'll get there with time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So the next question is from Rhoda. What are the capabilities of Microsoft Azure Sentinel?
Pardon?
Oh, what are the capabilities of Microsoft Azure Sentinel?
Okay. Who asked the question?
Oh, Rhoda.
Okay, so Rhoda, I'll tell you, I'll be real with you. I'm not aware of Microsoft Azure Sentinel. Maybe I'll have to research about it and get back to you. I actually don't even know what it does. Maybe you could maybe find me later and consult. We could consult over that. Yeah.
Maybe I can mention something to that. For Microsoft.
Okay.
Sorry, let me pick it up. For Microsoft Sentinel, it's a SIEM tool. I don't know whether you're familiar with the security intelligence and event monitoring tools. So those are the different tools that you can use to monitor intrusions or intrusion events in your organization. So we have different SIEMs in that case. And Sentinel is one of them, and it's the best because of the Azure perspective. And you're able to have a cloud when you have Azure set up for your environment, or when you're using Azure for authentication, or mostly around that, you're able to see the different intrusion or intrusive events. So the others, maybe I could mention, there's an open source one. What is it called? I don't remember it well, but there's an open source one. And then there's also Arcsite, there's Splunk. Which other one? Okay, there are a number of them, but yes, that is mostly used to manage intrusion events to the different organization, and it can give even a dashboard or a summary on what are the different threats that at high level, just like a dashboard on one side, what can I see? What are the different attacks that I'm receiving as an organization? Yes. I'm hoping I've answered your question. Yeah, moving on swiftly.
Okay. Okay, so there's another question by Kevin. I think it's quite he said the Kenya cybersecurity landscape seems to be still in its formative stages, and there are a number of legislations that have been recently enacted. However, there isn't a clear line between cybersecurity specialists and the black hats. I can see active participation by Kenyan groups in CTF challenges and doing well, but the misconceptions make it very difficult to not only make money, but also attain such a position in a company. So the question is, are there any local job placement agencies or communities in Kenya that leverage on cybersecurity skills? That's the question.
So as I know, as according to me, I would not say that I know any. I would not say I know any. I would only say about bug bounty, because personally, like me, I would say over this long holiday, I was looking for attachment, and I had a very hard time to get attached at any institution because of simply the course I was doing. Because the judgment they were making about me is that when we let you in, you're going to hack you're going to hack our systems, or maybe something, or maybe download malware into our systems. So I would not say I know of any, but I don't know. Maybe there's someone who can explain this better than me, but I would not say there's any I know of.
Okay. I don't see if anyone has anything to add on that. Maybe you can add on to that, but before that, we can proceed. I would also recommend you check the chat. There's also a number of resources being shared, a number of sites being shared. So I'll go to the next question. So how easy is the job of a forensic investigator in the event that the attacker cleared all the tracks to erase the evidence? I think that's on digital forensics.
The question was if what happens when the attacker has cleared all the event logs. So that's where your job kicks in as a forensic investigator, because your job is to look for what footprint they might have left. And there are tools that will aid you in this. Maybe if you're performing memory forensics, this is the live forensics. Maybe you are doing hard disk forensics. There are these softwares that are online. These foremost. There's another one that I'm forgetting the name. I don't remember very well. Autopsy. It depends. It depends with the tools you are going to use. Also, they are premium. I'm talking about the open source ones. They are premium tools that are going to get you what you want exactly. So one thing I would like you to know about cybersecurity, and I would like you to take this and write this somewhere, is that hard disks never forget, and the internet never forgets. So even if you put up a website today and take it down tomorrow, there's something called the archive.org, the archive.org, or maybe Wayback URLs. It indexes every single website that is running on the internet. So the same thing applies for hard disks. When information is formatted, doesn't mean it vanishes into thin air. It's still in the hard disk. You just have to know how to look for it. So all that, these are just some of the perks that comes with learning digital forensics. So you get to know, when you take a deep dive into it, you'll get to know how you can get to your desired goal. So I'd say you get to learn more about investigation, and you'll see that almost anything, unless maybe a hard disk has been physically damaged or something like that, as long as it's in its working state, it's still possible to recover data. It's still possible to recover logs and traces, etc.
Okay. 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 So there's another question. Let me see. Oh, someone has requested you narrow down tools you use for bug bounty and the process. I think that one is quite broad, but I think.
Okay, I will, because they have not asked me about everything. I'll say the ones I use. I'll say the ones I use. I use Babsuit. And for maybe template-based scanning, I use Nuclei. It's something that is on GitHub. So that's that one. You can maybe it indexes all the common vulnerabilities and exposures that have already been disclosed. So it uses templates to scan all over maybe the desired target websites that you want. Otherwise, my approach to bug hunting, maybe when I was transitioning from a penetration tester, I used tools a lot. But over the time, due to a lot of reading and research, my bug bounty hunting methodology has transitioned from using tools to manual hunting. Because let's say you are hunting a very simple example, a website that has a login form. So once you log in using your credentials, there's something called the cookie editor, or maybe you decide to log out. But when you press the back button, you find out that you are still logged in, but you logged out. So that means it's a bug, it's a session bug, because the session ought to have been terminated when you logged out. So it means the website, the specific website has a session bug where it does not terminate session tokens after it does not invalidate session tokens after the session has been terminated. So you see, you don't need any tool for that. You just need to know how something works, and then you learn how to abuse it. I would say that's it. Because if you want to treat a disease, you have to know how that disease, how the patient will be behaving when they have a particular disease. So I would say it's the similar logic when you use in bug bounty hunting.
Okay, so the next question is from Ian. I think this one is open. I think, which cybersecurity certification would you consider most crucial in the current job market? So, yes.
For me, I would go with OSCP. I'd go with Offensive Security Certified Professional or Offensive Security Web Expert. Because the benefits of that is those certifications are so hands-on that there's no way you could fluke past them. So, I don't know about certified ethical hacking, but I would say those two, they make the cut for me. I don't know about, people might have their different opinions, but those two make the cut for me.
I think the tool you mentioned, Leo, I'm not so sure which tool was it, but there's a tool you said it uses, is it cookies or something?
It's a cookie editor. It's an add-on where you download it and you use it. It shows the cookies you're using on your website. It's not a tool, it's just an add-on. So it's something you can download on your browser or extension.
What was the name?
If you're using Chrome. Cookie editor.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Well, okay. I think for the certifications, maybe I would add something. The certification that Leo has suggested, it's a nice one, but maybe there are a number of certifications, not limited. There are quite a number, and we have beginner, we have intermediate certifications. And well, for cybersecurity, mostly I would suggest maybe we can start with any intermediate certification, like you said, certified ethical hacker. We have CompTIA, Network Plus, Security Plus. Yes, maybe that's all I would say about that one. So there's another question. Leo, can one use the CTF platforms to practice for bug bounty?
Yes. They are very instrumental. You see, what happens is that these CTFs have a ripple effect. They show you the trajectory you're going to follow in your cybersecurity career path. Because if you are maybe doing the cyber talents, or I was formerly a CTF player, I used to rank number 3 on cyberspace and stuff like that. So you from there, because there are various challenges. There are web, there is crypto, there is what. From there you pick up what you're interested in, and you decide to follow that maybe into bug bounty hunting. So I'd say CTFs are very instrumental, and if you are a beginner, I'd advise you to get into them.
Okay. Okay, let me take the next question. There's another question someone has asked. When is the next free hack hackathon? Okay, I think I'll take up that one. It will be communicated, but thank you for asking. You can regularly check our social media platforms. It will be posted there. It will all be communicated. So yeah, it's amazing to see that you're looking forward to it. So thank you for that. There's another question. Which is the best open source VPN and MAC address spoofing tool for Carolina? Oh, okay.
Pardon. The question again?
The question is, which is the best open source VPN and MAC address spoofing tool for Kali?
MAC address spoofing tool for Kali. MAC address spoofing tool for Kali. You could use MAC Changer. It's there. And is it IP address spoofing or maybe VPN tool? There's OpenVPN. There's OpenVPN for Kali Linux, but you could still add things like Fortinet or something like that. But for me, I don't use any VPN. because I know I'm not doing anything illegal. So unless you are doing something illegal, there's even Tor for those of you who want to get into dark web, of which I'm not recommending anyone to get into it. So don't say it's Leo who sent you there. Yeah, so I'd say OpenVPN is there. But for me,
okay. Well, I don't see any other questions, but there are a number of questions. The number of suggestions. So I don't know. I think. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. So I think there are no other questions. Maybe I don't know if you have something to say.
Not much really, but I think thank you everyone for attending the session. And secondly, please contribute to our Bug Bounty program. You only awarded if you're really eligible to get that award, yes. So keep on practicing. And there is also, for those who are asking whether you can participate in Bug Bounty, you can use Hacker 101 platform, where when you complete some challenges, they invite you to private programs. In that way, you're able to now start contributing and getting more money or passive, something like that. So that's it from me, Nancy. Maybe we can proceed to close the session. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Well, I think I can give a chance to Tony in case maybe you have something to add. Tony.
Oh, thanks so much.
Oh, sorry, I missed out on that. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
Yes, please speak up.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys, for joining this session. I'm glad to see the turnout of you guys. Thanks so much, Leo. The session was very interactive and informative. And thanks for all the questions in the chat. I hope you guys are inspired. At least for those who haven't gotten into the cybersec field yet, you can now get in. And just know we are all here to help each other. You can reach out to anyone. I think very soon we'll get a platform for you guys so you can get to interact. Yeah, so I'm Tony Gidra. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And okay, if with your permission, I would like to give someone else a chance to say hi and maybe a comment or something. Uza Rwanda, kindly say hi or say something.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark. Is Uza Rwanda. I'm here in Kigali. I'm very happy to join you this evening. I appreciate the nice work from the presenter, Leo. I'm a CEO and founder of Rwanda Cybersecurity Community. So we aim to develop a security expert in cybersecurity matter and address the issue of shortage professional experienced staff in cybersecurity industry in Rwanda. We hope we keep in touch. We are happy to collaborate with you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for that. So finally, I think I'll say thanks to everyone who has attended, and yes, thank you for attending. It was quite interactive. Thank you even for the questions, and the people were asking for the recording. Well, the session is live on our YouTube channel, so you can revert back once the session ends. You can go back and maybe watch it at your own pace. And also don't forget to subscribe and yes, it's also for notifications. So thank you once again. I think I'll just conclude the meeting, and I'll be looking forward to the next session. We'll have another session next week on Tuesday once again. And also I think we have a number of campus representatives here. We had sessions, onboarding sessions last week with Tony, with you guys, with the team. And also, if you have something, if you want to train on a session, there's a form that we shared. Feel free to maybe submit your details and the topic of interest that you want to train on, and we'll be happy to host you. Once again, Leo, thanks. And yes, thank you once again. I think we've come to the end of the session. Okay, I think we can end the session. Maria, thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good night. Looking forward for the next one.
Good night.